1943, the experiment of making the Navy's ships go invisible was enacted in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
These things exist. This is what I wanted to show you guys. They exist for real. You can see these things in the graveyards at night. See, these are the things I be seeing. You know where they be at nighttime? They be in the graveyards. When they see you coming, they stand real still. You'll think they're a tombstone and walk right by them. They can shift like that. They got something you can put in their mouth that'll make them wiggle and change into all these different shapes. And then they eventually just turn really crazy, gooey, looking like a plastic rubber type of chemical, and then just melt down. I've seen that happen in a chair. You know, I don't know why all of a sudden I'm allowed to remember all this stuff. But you know, it's really amazing to me that this stuff has probably been going on with me for a long time. And this universe has so much technology and mental capability to it that they can actually make you forget stuff and make you do things. I mean, make you do things that you wouldn't do, and then after you do it, you find out that they did that because of an elaborate effort to push you into an arena that you needed to experience, to have the experience under your belt for a job that you've been trained to do. And I've been coming to understand more and more that my hesitation to reveal this information to this planet is causing stagnation of the concept of consciousness to move to a position that is suited to deal with the times that we are all encapsulated in. See, you can't be stuck on bullshit lockdown like religions and stupid commercials on television and pamphlets to buy a car and new mortgages and all that stuff like that, when you can see that the earth is very upset with us and destroying materialism. All these things that's going on should be telling you that now is not a good time to be consuming anything. Now is a good time to be building up a special awareness about what is truly that which encompasses all dynamics of your being. You know, is it a possibility that this is a part of your DNA structure of evolution, or could this be an existence of entity that you have evolved from? Are you the light that Asar claims he is? And if so, did you have to be this before you became the light, or is this the light? All these questions you could be asking yourself, other than stagnating out with the, okay, I got it all Jesus story, and just stop right there. That's ridiculous, crazy when you can see this. And in this little bit of time of looking at this, I've come up with more mental remembrance of this to substantiate its existence being greater than the substantiation of Jesus Christ's existence, when I've been on this earth all this time with nothing but books upon books upon books upon books giving claim to his existence, but nothing that is true and dynamic of an artifact or any souvenir type of remain of his, anything, no carpenter that didn't build one thing that's still in existence that we can all go to and see, this is proof. He built this great structure. All that stuff is in Egypt. These things right here I've actually saw. As crazy as it's going to be and as hard as it is for you to believe that, I have saw these things. I have saw one get something put into his mouth. And after it got that thing, it wiggled and shriveled and all kind of changes of molecular structure. The molecules pretty much stayed persistent or consistent with this arrangement, a molecular arrangement, but it went from dynamics of zoomorphics that you would not believe, but it pretty much stayed in the same perimeter of size and almost color, but various demonstrations of obvious immediate change in the arrangement of the aggregates as far as the positioning of them and the contours and things like that involved with what I'm saying is making me get at that conception of what I was looking at. dramatic changes around the head to make it even. It was just weird. It changed so many times. At one time, I could also remember seeing whiskers, like an animal, cat or something. And one time with a antenna type of horn. And I don't remember ever seeing the gender go to female at all. But I saw a lot of things that I can't even bring back or recalling of. You know what's weird? It seemed like there was something that was red, but not real deep. I mean, bright red, dark red, and brown with dots that ran all the way up and down his body like this, with those antlers that went back. But up here it had what seemed to be like hooves with a round placement position. If it was on all fours, it would have been flat to the ground like an elephant, but there was no trunk. Or was there? If it was short, like what would be on an aardvark or an anteater. And it was, now that I recall that. It was a really strange, but it shifted from that to another thing that kind of looked like I can see it now, it kind of looked like a centipede, and it had two things that went off to the side like that also. But eventually it went through a last convulsion wiggle, and it became a big spool of goo sitting in a chair. And they had this thing, restraint, somehow. And I don't know if it was on this big ship that I was on. Because the ship, let me tell you how I know I'll be on the ship. Because I feel it move. First, I leave at my own energy source. Okay, once I leave at my own energy source, I go to this ship, and I just end up in the ship. I don't remember going into it. I remember going into blackness, toward the light. Then when I get to the light, it changes into something else, like me not having to work. I relax, and I can feel this thing moving, and I can feel myself being a cargo inside of it. Then we go somewhere else. And wherever we be going, I have encounters. I remember my last one, I had the big auditorium with all the people in it. And that was the same night I actually saw one of these things being interrogated. And along with that, these things are on the earth with us every day. And they know I know them when I see them. And see, you good people out there don't understand the real dynamics of our earth, because you've been misled by the media and the powers that be to keep us all ignorant and dumb and unaware. And even myself, I had to come here unaware of who I was. And I know this is hard for a lot of people to believe and stomach, but I'm going to tell you something. Some people do know it, because I'll be running into people, talking to them. And there's a lot of people, white people too, that are not rich and wealthy. And they don't tell me, man, I've been seeing your YouTube page, and I know what you're saying is true. But I was talking to this one guy today. He probably is a Mexican. He's real white looking though, but he act more Mexican than white. But that ain't the big point. What I'm saying is, me and him was talking. I don't care what his race is, but I'm just saying to you, his demeanor making it seem like he's a Mexican guy. And he was saying to me, he said, yeah, me and him was both looking at the sun. We was both standing out there because the sun was just really doing some incredible stuff. And we was both just looking at it. And I said to him, I said, man, what do you see when you look at it? And he looked at me. He said, man, you know what I see? He said, I see some green dots. They look like little spaceships. That's what he said to me. And I said, and they green? He said, yeah, they green, bro. I said, man, imagine that. I said, when I look at the sun, I see a big outline all the way completely around it that's green. And there was this other guy with me. I asked him, what you see, man? He said, I see a round circle around it with all kind of colors in it. I said, yeah, I see that too. And so, you know, one point that I'm saying that is that the one guy told me that he sees spaceships at the sun. He said, man, I know that they're here. I know they're here. He said, this shit getting ready to go down, man. Things getting ready to go down. He was real spiritual. He was real spiritual. He could really feel it. You know, me and him was just talking, and he was saying some heavy stuff to me. Because he said something, he said, you know what, man, it ain't even about what you can see in the book or see on YouTube. He said, out here with your own naked eye, you should be able to see things. And he's right, because I always see things, and I've always told people, and people always shun you off and make you think that when you get deep into the stuff that this world had television to make you look at as being science fiction, it's more true fiction than it is science fiction. A lot of this stuff, they give you that to just lock you down and stagnate your knowledge of self. That's why they do that. So let's go ahead and run with this.
Yeah. Using the battleship, the USS Eldridge. This became known as the Philadelphia Experiment. The Zetas knew that creating such an experiment would utilize the creation of an external manufactured Merkaba field that would fracture and split and create a hole in time, space, or a tear in the natural Merkaba field, would serve as a dimensional warp through which the Zetas could secretly pass their ships to Earth from the dimension of the fourth world. Using this rip in space-time, the Zetas were able to transport large numbers of their spacecraft undetected by human observations into Earth's Merkaba field, and from there the ships could be used to broadcast specific electromagnetic pulses directly into Earth's Merkaba field at the center of its sun. To the Zetas, their technological method was far more effective as a controlling factor over the human population than the human Illuminatis having their Zionist tags sexing out the melanated females and contaminating their physical and astral bodies, thus causing the degeneration of their entire human species at a time period like they are presently doing, once again, like they are presently doing today. By now, you should all know these Western governments are full of shit, with America at the top of the heap of the shit pack.
Yeah, Hotep. This is Asara Satepara Ma'at. Okay, so I went out and I found a little something about these sinkholes, because I find them very interesting. You know, I really do. Now look at this, and I want you to look at the diameter of it. Look how huge it is, right? And nobody can figure out what was there or why there's so much oil in it. Okay, let's think about this. What if there was some